Have you noticed that everything is getting more expensive? Fuel is rising. Food is rising. Life itself feels heavier. And somewhere deep inside, you start to worry. How long will this last? Is your money losing value every day? Are you falling behind without even realizing it? But pause. Take a breath. And look at this differently. The truth is, the world has never been stable. War, crisis, inflation. These are not exceptions. They are the pattern. Even in the time of Marcus Aurelius, people lived in uncertainty. Empires rose and fell. Prices changed again and again. Things beyond your control have always existed. So the real question is not, what will happen next? But, how will you respond to what is happening? Most people choose fear. When prices rise, they panic. When prices fall, they panic even more. They stare at numbers and let emotions decide. But the truth is, the market doesn't destroy you. Your fear does. The Stoics understood something powerful. You cannot control oil prices. You cannot control war. You cannot control the global economy. But you can always control your thoughts, your reactions, your decisions. In a chaotic world, calmness is an advantage. And in this video, you will learn how to stay steady while everything around you becomes unstable. Not to predict the market, but to stop it from controlling you. You are watching prices rise day by day. Fuel rises. Food rises. Everything feels heavier. And when that happens, most people begin to look for answers outside. War, markets, numbers. They try to understand what is happening to the world. But the Stoic understands. Understanding the world is not enough. You must understand yourself. The world moves by forces greater than you. A conflict somewhere can raise the price of energy. Energy rises, and it pulls everything with it. Transport, production, food. A small shift can ripple through the entire system. This is not unusual. This is how the world works. But ask yourself, do you truly need to understand every fluctuation to live well? Or are you simply being pulled into it and losing your calm? Many people look at the market and try to predict. They believe that if they understand enough, they can control the outcome. But the truth is, no one controls chaos. You can only refuse to be carried away by it. There is a common mistake. People believe that big events always lead to clear outcomes. War happens, prices rise. War ends, prices fall. But life does not work that way. There is no simple formula. There is no 1 + 1 = 2. The Stoic does not seek certainty. They accept that the world is unpredictable. And instead of trying to control the future, they train themselves not to collapse before it. When everything becomes more expensive, what is truly being tested is not your wallet. It is your mind. How will you respond? Panic? Or observe? Follow the crowd? Or stand by your principles? Because the truth is, it is not prices that make you lose direction. It is the meaning you give to them. The weak see volatility and fear. The wise see volatility and remain still. You cannot control oil prices, war, or the economy. But you can always control what you spend, what you think, how you respond. And in a world where everything is escalating, The one who remains steady is not the one who knows the most, but the one who is affected the least. You may have believed that everything in life follows a clear pattern. If A happens, then B will follow. People believe that when war begins, prices rise, and when war ends, prices fall. It sounds reasonable, but life is not that simple. People are always searching for formulas, a way to predict, a way to feel in control. But the truth is, what actually happens rarely follows the logic you expect. An event ending does not mean its effects are gone. A war may pass, but its consequences remain, quietly, slowly, and accumulating. The impatient look at the moment. The Stoic looks at the consequences. They understand. The most dangerous thing is not the event itself, but how it reshapes everything after. When more money is created, its value declines. When energy becomes expensive, everything else follows. Not immediately, but inevitably. And in that space, most people make mistakes. They look at short-term movements and believe that is the whole story. They see prices fall and think it is over. They see instability and assume it is the end. But the truth is, what you see is only the surface. There are forces beneath it. Slower, quieter, but far more powerful. The Stoic does not react to the surface. They observe and wait. They are not deceived by temporary changes, because they understand. Time reveals the true nature of all things. Fear makes people rush, and rushing leads to poor decisions. You do not need to understand every movement. You do not need to react to every change. You only need to remember. There is no formula for life. There is no absolute certainty. There is only this. Those who remain calm see more clearly, and those who see clearly are not carried away. There are things you don't notice right away, not because they don't exist, but because they arrive slowly. A small change somewhere in the world can take time to reach you, but when it does, it doesn't knock. It enters your life directly. Costs begin to rise, not in one place, but everywhere. You start paying more for things you once considered normal. Movement, food, daily life. And then you realize you are not separate from this world. You are part of it. Everything is connected. A small disruption can spread through the entire system. But the most frightening thing is not rising prices. It is when you no longer have a choice. When you have money, but cannot buy what you need. When you want to move, but cannot go anywhere. When life slows down, not because you are weak, but because the system around you no longer works as it used to. That is when people panic. Not when things are expensive, but when things become scarce. And in those moments, human nature reveals itself. Some become rushed. Some become afraid. Some lose their reason. But the Stoic is different. They were prepared long before. Not by predicting everything, but by accepting one simple truth. The world owes you no stability. They understand. Life can change at any moment. Without warning. Without explanation. So they do not rely completely on what is outside. They learn to adapt. To live with less. To need less. Because when you need less, you are harder to control. You cannot guarantee that the world will always function smoothly. But you can guarantee this: that you will not collapse when it doesn't. True preparation is not about storing everything. It is about training your mind, so that no matter how circumstances change, you still hold on to one thing: inner stability. There is one thing that causes most people to fail, not because they lack information, but because they are looking at the wrong things. They focus on what is happening today: small numbers, short-term movements, daily changes, and they believe that this is the whole picture. But the Stoic understands the present is only a small fragment of time. A single drop means nothing. A short fluctuation does not define the future. But fear makes everything feel bigger than it is. When things fall, people panic. When things move, they lose conviction, not because reality has changed that much, but because their minds cannot tolerate uncertainty. And then they act quickly, emotionally, without clarity. That is how they lose everything. The weak react to every movement. The wise observe the direction. They are not trapped in each passing day. They look further, not days, not weeks, but years, because they understand anything meaningful takes time to form. You cannot build something valuable in a single moment, and you do not lose everything because of one small shift. But if you let fear take over your mind, you will lose both. A mind filled with fear has no room for vision. You cannot think big while worrying about small things. You cannot stay your course if you keep turning back. The Stoic does not chase every movement. They hold their principles. They hold their perspective. They hold their calm. They do not need to know when things will happen. They only need to know if they stay the course. Time will do the rest. So the real question is not what will happen tomorrow, but are you steady enough to not change because of it? So in the end, the world may change. Prices may rise. Systems may shake. The future may become uncertain. But there is one thing that does not have to change. That is you. It is not your circumstances that define who you are, but how you stand within them. You do not need a stable world to become steady. You need a steady mind to walk through an unstable world. Others will panic. Others will follow the crowd. Others will be pulled by every small movement. But you do not have to. You can choose to pause, to observe, and to remain grounded. Because in the end, true freedom is not controlling the world. It is not being controlled by it. And when you reach that point, no matter what happens out there, within you, there is still peace. If this made you pause, even for a moment, then you're already thinking differently. Follow for more, not to escape the world, but to understand how to stand within it.